only remember how they are half naked, hungry. They always dragged heavy buckets of water, and their mother drank heavily and pounded them. I'm Jennifer Sandwich, and this is Strangeful Things.
Sheltering in place is not advised, as your survival cannot be ensured in that scenario.
Love has practically caused me to just get you destroyed.
Unsolved, unresolved, and super complicated.
Strangeful Things.
Nice work.
Nailed it.
What were you worried about? You've been, studying paid off, girl. A+.
Yeah, like 45 minutes. That's all. That's the most I've ever studied.
Crammed it in.
Welcome everyone to Strangeful Things, where we take a big, fat, juicy entertainment chop, trim off the gristle, and grill it up nice for you. I wrote that right after I grilled something.
Wow.
So that's... Hey, we do a lot for our listeners. We have a full house of fell companions this week, but before we get to that, I want to make sure everyone knows that this story, speaking of grills, is going to contain some gnarly cannibalism.
Yeah, awesome.
Present company accepted. We here at Strangeful Things do not condone the practice of humans eating other humans.
Well,
However, we are pretty solidly behind humans being eaten by other animals because we totally have it coming.
Yeah.
right.
That said,
Payback.
if you don't want to hear about alleged cannibalism, this is not the episode for you, except for Mells, Sandwich, and Shooey, who have no choice. How are you doing, everybody?
I'm great. I went to the store today twice.
Nice.
Well, I went to the store once, and then I went to another store once. They were all out of the things that I don't eat. It's the weirdest thing. They're out of they're out of like bread, toilet paper, and paper products, and like frozen foods, like bready frozen foods, pizzas.
It's because they're using the bread for toilet paper.
It's like, wait, but I went there and I'm like, oh my God, there are tons of tomatoes. There's lettuce, there's fruit. All of the things that I actually like to eat are all here. So
Because
it was
it's not
pretty
absorbent.
cool.
That's right.
It's not. So, but we have a shower, so we're just gonna hope our 6 rolls of toilet paper last. So
There you go.
Well, I'm just happy that bidet I invested in about 3 months ago is really paying off right about now. So
I'm so jealous.
Top notch.
That's just a shaken up bottle of Sprite Zero that you keep next to.
hey, don't
It
need to
works.
specify what it works. That's right. Like
That's the
it could
best.
be shaking up salt water. For all you know, you don't know. But guess what?
My hiney's clean.
My hiney's clean.
I'm bidet clean.
Guess what? It's sparkling clean, and I don't gotta fight nobody for toilet paper. So
Hell no.
win, win, win. Checking all the boxes.
Just got to run a nice dry cycle after you're done, and everything's good to go.
And you know what? Working from home, nobody's here. I just run down the stairs real quick a couple times, and then everything's kosher.
That's...
Coming from a shut-in, not leaving the house, I feel like a pro. You've got it down, Pat.
Well, it's not your fault. You don't have stairs. So if you did, you could...
If you had stairs, you'd be running them. I will also say this, that my lovely significant other that I love so very dear much, he did do the apocalypse grocery run and came home with 2 cartons of White Castle cheeseburgers that you microwave.
Well, that'll save you.
While I do enjoy that, I was questioning what exactly he thought was going to happen here. Because
Well, it's a good thing you have the bidet.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, are you trying to kill me of dysentery in times like these? Oh, jeez.
Well, we're all going to eat over your house because I haven't had White Castle in a very long time.
No, your ass ain't coming nowhere near my bidet, though. I can tell you that right now. You got to bring your own bidet.
So I can bring my own Sprite Zero. I don't care. All right. Our story tonight is about Alexander Bychkov, who we can call little punk-ass Bychkov if we want.
Do we really want to?
Yeah, it's up to you. He was born on April Fool's Day, 1988, which was quite a year.
The best year.
In March of 1988, just before our subject was born, Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley was released. So. And the number one movie the week the little shit was born was Beetlejuice.
It was a great year.
Yeah, that's good.
But nobody would be saying Bychkov 3 times if they knew it was good for him. And it's also a pretty good bet that nobody in his hometown went to see Beetlejuice the week that he was born, as Belinsky Pesna in the USSR usually had to wait a while to get the new movies.
I think they just got Star Wars in 88.
Exactly.
Oh.
The town of the Western Soviet Union had about 9,000 people in it when Irina and Vladimir Bychkov brought little Alex into the world. We don't have any information on how the delivery went, but considering the fact that both parents were raging drunks, we can assume that he was either born in some commie hospital or he fell out of Irina onto the street while she bumbled around trying to trade cabbages for airline bottles of Stala Schneider.
Yes.
And if being an alcoholic wasn't good enough, apparently the mom was a big fan of Strange.
Nice.
At the age of 40, Vladimir, the father, hanged himself because Irina was cheating on him, and he was a hapless drunk who couldn't wait like 3 years for the USSR to fall apart and then live happily ever after in whatever the fuck they have now. Wait, what? Kleptocracy? Oligarchy? What is Russia?
It's a Putinocracy.
Oh, they're Putinocracy. Oh,
right.
man.
I think it's I don't know. It's some sort of blend of democracy and the KGB old guard who don't want to
It's like
let
a
go.
fake democracy.
Yeah.
It's pretend democracy.
Yeah.
We can
Right.
go with pretend.
Sure.
All right.
It's a mud.
All right, that's good. We're good political scientists here. So poor Vladimir could not take his old lady cheating on him and decided to hang himself. The death of Vladimir also meant that Alexander and his little brother Sergei, who had been born 2 years later, were seriously cramping their mom's swinging lifestyle. After the dad bought it, Irina climbed down into the bottom of a bottle, and it seems like only came out for dick.
Oh.
Of course,
Oh, hey-oh.
I'm just relating the facts. Of course. All right, so I said facts, but it is kind of conjecture because we
Was
don't
that
have
in
any
the
info on
research?
who.
Like that she came out for dick?
I did a.
Only here for dick. Nothing else. Not even vata. Dick
I only know of one person for sure that she hooked up with. But even if all that is true, fucking around's not a crime, not even in Soviet Russia.
Yeah, don't
So
slut
let's-
shame.
Yeah, so let's focus on the fact that while she was living this outlaw country lifestyle, she was straight up neglecting the well-being of her kids. Not that she ignored them completely, but as is so often the case, the attention she did give them was worse than if she had just ignored them. Since Irina was busy boozing, it fell to the kids to bring in some money. I guess at this point things weren't communist anymore, so I would presume things were a mess economically. But Irina's big idea was to put the kids to work. She'd send them out in the morning, and if they didn't come back with 100 rubles at the end of the day, she'd beat the shit out of them.
Oh, what a good
How much
mom.
is 100 rubles in American money, Mells?
Well, Bob, the price is $1.35.
That's some bullshit right there. And it had to have been a lot less back in the early 90s or whenever it was, the mid-90s. But if for the penalty for not coming up with the scratches of beating from a drunk, you bet your ass those kids were hustling. It sort of makes you wonder what the hell that amount of money is so little. What was it going towards? Booze? Rent? Plutonium? What do you think? Like, what would you get for $1.30? Like, you know how in olden times they'd be like, oh, we only made a nickel a week. And somehow they also had a house and a car and shit. Like, how much could stuff possibly cost?
This was the 90s when $1.35 was like $80,000 today.
Yeah, that's true.
It's different.
And in Russia, it was even more.
It's as long as you got your gallon of vodka and your little weird Russian chunk of bread, you're good. You're
And
good
your
to go.
nesting
That's it.
dolls. Don't forget you have to have nesting dolls.
$1.35 a day would keep you in Fabergé eggs, that's for sure. So, well, whatever they used it for, they worked their asses off for it. They got up every morning at 6 and wheeled an old baby carriage they found around town. They'd use it to sell vegetables they got out of their scraggly-ass garden, and they'd also fill it up with scrap metal, which is a terrible marketing idea because if someone wants a beet, they'll be pissed if they get a rusty bed spring. After keeping the town free of bottle caps and old landmines, the brothers were forced to resort to stealing metal out of the neighbor's shed. He caught them yelling, "My metal!" as he did so. But they were so pathetic looking that he let them go. And this would become a theme. Like, they'd rob people and then people would catch them and go, "I found you, you poor little robbers. I'm going to let you go." Because they were so just fucking sad. One of the other neighbors let him work in her garden, and she paid them. Ooh. She also fed them when she could spare the food. A neighbor named Olga was quoted as saying,
"Alexander grew up closed and downtrodden. He and his brother worked hard at the age of 5 like horses. I only remember how they are half naked, hungry. They always dragged heavy buckets of water, and their mother drank heavily and pounded them."
Oh, what a good mom.
Terrible.
Like, how much did you have to drink and pound your kids for the neighbor to have that be the only two things they knew about her?
A fair amount of drinking.
She just comes launching out of the door, swigging out of a bottle and laying the kids in the side of the head.
Man.
Like, Jesus Christ, it's
terrible.
Now, strangely, making your children your only source of income and drinking up all the profits didn't prove to be a great financial strategy, and the mom ended up having to move them all to a hostel.
Oh, we know what happens in hostels.
Oh, hostels are never good.
A lot of drinking and a lot of hooking up with cool, fun friends to hang out and do activities with.
I only know hostels that you get your head chopped off or a blowtorch to your eye.
Yeah, murdered in. And then they play soccer with your
Yeah, I
head.
ain't fucking with no hostel.
The ones on Pornhub are kind of fun, though.
But those are fake hostels. Not that I know anything about that.
Shooey, don't let him rub off
Drag
on
me down.
No.
This is the first, after they got to the hostel, it's the first indication of Alexander expressing any anger, as he was apparently upset at their homeless lifestyle. Along the line, his little brother Sergei got mixed up in some shit and got into debt. And stealing his way out of it didn't work, because in the early 2000s, when he was still a teenager, he got the living shit kicked out of him and got thrown out of a moving car.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the beatings his mother gave him didn't somehow make him immune, because he ended up with brain damage and permanent disability.
Oh my God.
And this would affect Alexander later.
I bet.
Whew.
He also had a stepbrother randomly who was really nice to him. He walked him to kindergarten and made sure he was okay at home when Irina was too drunk or angry or both to do it. And he also made sure the poor kid had food. So, yay, stepbrother.
He had a heart.
Yay.
Now, when we talk about Alexander, seeing as we know how it turns out, since we already talked about cannibalism, one would think that we'd see him hitting the streets at the age of 11 and becoming a hardened beat dealer. But no.
Dropping mad beats everywhere, yo.
That's right. He actually finished high school and got into the Belinsky Pedagogical.
What?
What does that mean?
Pedagogical school.
Pedagogical?
Sounds important. Pedagogical. He was learning to be a pedophile.
I was going to say pedal, like he was learning to pedal carts.
The director of the school, Valery Alexandrovich, said that he passed all of his tests and did well in class. She went on to say,
"At first I wanted to help him. He often missed, but he could completely stop showing up at the school."
And the reason why he stopped showing up at the school was his brother. He had to leave school to take care of his injured, disabled sibling, and the school director remembers him saying,
"Sooner or later I will find all who beat Sergei."
Whoa, this is mad Terminator vibes right here.
I'm liking it.
Way to go, Shooey.
After he got... Yeah, I know, right? That was kind of scary. If he dies, he dies.
I
All right,
will
after he got
beat them.
home, he was different, at least according to his neighbors. So now picture a documentary where Russians in big hats in front of gray houses are talking into the camera about Alexander while stray dogs fight behind them.
"I did not notice any aggression on his part," said an unknown individual. "He was very closed. I do not remember him being friends with someone."
Oh.
He had no
It's
friends.
more sad when you said it like that.
I mean, you should have
seemed
took up with them dogs. What's up?
Right. He could have been their leader. He seemed calm, quiet, and introverted. One individual named Valerie Cooligan comments that she saw him at the store, and Alexander looked at her as if he didn't know her.
He was already different. A stranger. Kind of detached.
Neighbors say that the only person whom he really loved was his grandmother. He changed a lot when the old woman fell ill. He was left to live alone in a gloomy house over a ravine.
Damn.
According to a neighbor named Yuri,
in the last year, he began to dress in all black, shave his head, become interested in Hitler's biography, drew a swastika on his hand. He walked with eyes turned inward. I thought, the guy is clearly on the verge of a mental breakdown. Once Alexander said, it's so strange, but in this life, I'm not afraid of anything.
Hold up. He walked around cross-eyed.
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, I didn't understand that at all.
He walked with eyes turned inward.
He was looking at his own brain. So, he's not afraid of anything. He's been abused his whole life. And now he lives in a gloomy house over a fucking ravine. Man. I mean, I know we already warned people about where this story was going, but I hope you see the road to the outcome was fucking chock full of things that one would sadly expect. You know what I mean? Like, this guy wasn't going to end up in the Olympics.
I have issues with the whole ravine thing. You say, like, over a ravine, like, were they, like, suspended over a bridge or something?
No,
like,
on the side of it.
It was
the
a nice overlook of the ravine.
So they had a nice
ravine
view of the ravine?
Heavily in, no, ravine plays heavily in stories. Don't worry.
But I keep thinking, like, well, that sounds like an actual, like, kind of cool place that I would like to live. It seems like, you know, it's nice and gloomy and gray. You know, you put your coat on like you're in Iceland, standing on a cliff, singing, you know, Bjork songs.
Yeah, but you're picturing like a cool castle like Ravenloft or some shit like that.
There you go. Yeah.
This is like a shitty apartment in the brutalist style where it's just a bunch of squares and everybody has a pot of soup cooling off on the front steps.
Yeah, and I think that ravine is full of cigarette butts. That's what I'm imagining.
Oh.
And vodka bottles.
That's where the dogs all go to shit too.
Dogs been hanging around that ravine.
I'm so glad no one reads ahead in script. That way ravine can be a very important part later. So, we're going to approach the activity of Alexander on a case-by-case basis, and we're going to use a lot of the contemporary news reports because even in Russia, true crime rules.
Hell yeah. Woo!
So, a few facts. He was known as the Belinsky Cannibal, but what else was he known as, Mells?
Dun-dun. Rambo! But he gave it to himself, which is lame.
Yeah, that's right.
Lame.
And we know from his diary, which will come in super handy detail-wise, that he started killing when his girlfriend kicked him out.
Oh, first of all, it's a journal, not a diary. All right.
Number 2. This sounds like we're going to be blaming the girlfriend.
Okay. I can only read what was in the diary.
Journal.
She said I was a wimp, not a wolf. I will show her. Maybe she will stop complaining and understand that I am a lone wolf.
Woof, woof, baby. Woof, woof.
You know who it was?
Woof.
Do you remember the girlfriend from Teresita Basa? The one that was like, yeah, fuck, I know, go. He brought me this jewelry as a late Christmas present. It's the same girl, I think.
I'm fairly certain that she did some time traveling.
Now, Lone Wolf would be a cool nickname, but he gave himself Rambo, which I think was because he used a big knife in some of his crimes. Then again, sometimes he used a hammer and he didn't call himself MC.
And
so
they had
I
just
don't know.
gotten Rambo there anyway, so it was new to him.
Too legit to quit. Hey.
Too legit.
Anyways, according to Russian news source newsru.com,
the offender studied the actions of other serial killers and was interested in ways to hide the traces of the crime. He targeted mainly men who were alcoholics or homeless because of his disdain for their way of life. He committed the crimes in the warm summer months, how whimsical, May to September, when migrant workers, not so whimsical, flooded the area, which led investigators away on false trails.
So, On September 17th, 2009, 60-year-old Yevgeny Zidkov traveled to Belinsky to register some pension documents and met Alexander in a bar. The young man invited the old dude to stay at his house for the night, and they drank and talked for most of the evening.
Oh, that was
When
sweet.
Zidkov finally fell asleep, Alexander Bychkov stabbed him to death and cut up his body into manageable pieces.
What now? Okay, somebody tell me what a manageable piece is. Are we talking about fits in a palm of your hand?
I would say fits in one of those plastic grocery bags.
Like elbow
Okay.
to
Which is gonna be
hand kind of thing? Like,
I wouldn't want to put one full arm into one bag. I would want
Right.
like half an arm
Like a
in one
half
and
an
half in
arm,
the
right?
other, so I can,
Wouldn't
balance.
matter how many bags you use, because you'd still be like, I'm going to only take one trip.
Because it's manageable pieces. Well, of course. What am I, stupid? Yeah, of course. I'm
the
gonna do one
bag
trip,
hook.
but-
I don't know if it was around during
You got
this
them
time.
all. There's like no circulation to your forearms because you got them all the way up to your fucking
yeah, unless you're a
shoulders.
guy,
Damn
you're
right.
going to make one
I'm
trip
damn
no matter
professional.
what.
I'd be damned if I'm going back out to that car, because once my ass hits that door,
You know it.
it ain't going back
right.
out. So just hear me now, people. If I leave one item in that car, it is staying there until I am forced to leave the house again.
That's car
Tell
food
him,
now.
Mells.
Yes.
That's a snack for when
That's
we go
right.
on a car trip.
Oh, you hungry? You hungry, 4-year-old? There's a jar of pickles that fell out of the groceries last
That's a
week.
jar of pickles.
Have at it.
There's always an errant bag of Cheerios in every parent's car.
Girl,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
goldfish.
that is
It's
true.
goldfish. I lift the seat up. It's like fucking, Finding Nemo under there. I'm like, what are you doing?
So, this whole chopping up thing would become part of the ritual and the practical part of the murders. Because he would dismember the bodies and package them up. Not like he was going to mail them, I don't think. But he wrapped them up. Because remember the gloomy ravine he lived by? Well, there was an impromptu dump on the side of it. So he sprinkled his victims' parts through it. See, that's what separates us from Russia. We have pop-up restaurants and they have pop-up dumps.
Oh my God.
Lucky them.
Jen, you want to tell us what happened next?
Okay, so this is also from newsru.com. In April of 2011, janitor Sergei Lysinonin quit his job and started drinking. Which sounds great, doesn't it?
Like you do.
Right. Okay. But about 2 months later, he disappeared after going out for cigarettes.
Okay.
Again, like you do.
In the United States, that's
Going out
called
for cigarettes
Dad,
is so
Dad'll
dangerous.
be back in a little while. That's what it's called over here.
Exactly.
Just going out
So
for a
his-
pack of smokes. It happened on the Married with Children.
Yes. So
In
his
Big Bang
mother.
Theory.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know about that.
I know you don't know that.
This is horrible. Okay, I never get to participate. All right, so his mother, Reza Alexievna. Oh, I really want to say that right because it just sounds
Alexievna.
Alexievna? Okay. His mother, Raisa Alexievna, said, at 5 o'clock in the evening, he went out for cigarettes and we never saw him again. After the body was discovered, she said, his head was pierced and there were no hands. This ogre ate my son's hands.
Ugh.
Woo!
You leave Shrek
Mel, do you
out
wanna
of
take
this.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take the next one, I guess. I'm personally offended at the thought of someone coming after Shrek. Just wants to live in a swamp by himself. All right. Vera Fedoroving.
That was so on the money. Holy crap.
I thought that was a G at the end, but it's an A.
I thought I was
All
in
right.
Russia.
Let's give it again.
Fedorovna Sukhareva.
I'm so
Fedorovna
good at this.
Sukhareva. Okay.
Yep.
Vera Fedorovna Sukhareva rushed to Alexander's house one day and began to shout where the whole street could hear, "Do you sleep peacefully? There are corpses around you!" Her son, girl, yes. You know, she did 2 snaps after that, too. Her son, 34-year-old Sergei Sukharev, disappeared on July 19th, 2011. Like janitor Sergei Lysanyan. All right, he's got a thing for Sergeys. What's up?
A lot of Sergeys, and they spell it different, which is fun.
Man, he went to the store. No, y'all, I can't do this. This man went to the store in slippers for cigarettes and did not return home. Y'all, quit Put some proper footwear on or go barefoot. Don't
Never.
mess your house slippers up. That's number one. Mel's rule number one. Number two, obviously, it's like Jack the Ripper when it wasn't safe for sex workers during this time. It ain't safe to go out for cigarettes.
Apparently.
Get that shit
But
Postmated.
it's Russia. What else are they going to do?
Postmates.
Yeah, cigarettes and vodka. That's pretty much their existence.
I mean, stock up. Make a day run. Send your kid down there. His remains were found in the ravine. He left behind...
Oh.
Now, this is not good. He left behind a wife and a daughter. Oh, jeez. Former anesthesiologist Vladimir Bychkov disappeared on August 4th, 2011.
Jeez.
So much for cooling off periods. He, killed them a month apart.
Not even, boo. That's like 3
Funny.
weeks.
Funny you should say that, because it turns out there wasn't a cooling off period the first time either. Dun, dun, dun.
He just jumped right in
Yep.
and kept on killing. Woo!
Because the first one in 2009, and then they picked up in 2011. But the gap that we thought existed did not actually exist.
Oh my God.
Is this the part?
It just got
No.
rolling in 2011.
He was eating. No, he was eating them during that time, wasn't he?
Well,
I figured it out. There was no body parts in the ravine because he was eating those motherfuckers. They must have been
Oh,
prime
they were
beef.
so tasty.
Guess what? That
Well-
was that 97% lean beef you see in the grocery
I
store.
love
Generally-
that human
well, yeah, because-
stroganoff.
because they didn't have any food.
Oh,
So
man.
usually 2 years would be what would be considered a logical cooling off period after somebody's first murder. If they go on to commit more, because it's so new and everything like that. But that, we're going to find out, was not the case with Alex.
Oh.
So rather than drag you all through each murder, I thought I'd give you all an outline of the things that happened in relation to the case, because this is a young guy who accelerated really quickly, and just thinking about what could have happened legit gives me the willies.
We're talking right now at this moment in time, he's 32.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's young
He's a
for
kid.
one of these guys.
Yep.
Damn, that's young.
It's like
Yeah.
Dahmer.
So, he killed his first person in 2009, but it was not Yevgeny Zidkov. It was apparently his mom's ex, another Sergei, this one Berezovsky, whose dismembered corpse they found in the dump in 2010. Then they found 2 more in 2010, and they knew something was up.
You can't fake out the Russian policeman. Those guys are on it.
Except
They find
kinda
3
you
bodies
super
and they're like,
can.
hey.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
well,
it depends on who the body is, I suppose.
Okay, but here's the
the
thing.
townies-
You can't keep killing Sergeys and not somebody get suspicious at
There's
some
only
point.
so many Sergeys.
There's only, apparently
Wait
there's
until-
a shit ton of Sergeys around.
There were 50 Sergeys
there-
here. There's only 20
There's
now.
a spare and
Something's
an
not
air
right.
Sergey everywhere. But, I mean, shit, you can't kill an entire town full of Sergeys without getting caught.
Well, in fact, the townies had more than a little to do with how things went down, because apparently they saw Alexander wandering around town all bloody on more than one occasion and figured that he had been in a fight, or just didn't say anything because they didn't want, quote, ill fame brought to
my
their
Lord.
little town.
my
Newsflash, townies. Body parts at the pop-up dump equals ill fame.
Oh my
So,
God.
Wasn't Belinsky named happiest place in Russia?
well, yeah, after they caught Alexander,
After they cleaned up the
So-
body.
Jeez.
yeah, after they cleaned up the dump. So,
Everybody was
cops-
so relieved.
at the time, the cops weren't looking for a person, because there were dead people cropping up that were not dismembered, and the missing people, according to the cops, probably weren't murdered.
Cop logic.
So they started getting some shit from the Gen Pop about catching somebody, because, the murders and the dismemberments and whatever. But the cops were basically like, well, look, this guy's dead and he's not chopped up, so that can't be related. And we haven't found this guy yet, so he's just a missing person.
Right.
But they had to do something, so of course they sprung into action and arrested a mentally disabled person named Alexander Zuplov.
All right, this is going
Of
to
course
piss me
they
off.
did.
Now, Zuplov obviously didn't do it, but he did confess to the crimes for some reason, beating. He was sent to a mental institution.
So there were no homosexuals to arrest.
No, apparently not. The fact that people kept disappearing after the poor guy got put away did not ease the minds of the townsfolk. Then Alexander, who had not been caught for the terrible murders, robbed a hardware store on January 21st, 2012. He stole 3 knives and almost 10,000 rubles, which even in fucking worthless rubles was a little over $300. He then, in true idiot fashion, went to a bar and started flashing his rubles all around.
I'm loaded, brothers.
Hey, look, I've been poor for an entire time you've known me, but look at my money now.
Check
You
it
know how many
out.
beats you have to sell to make $300?
I came in from fishing boat. There's no fishing here. Whatever.
It's landlocked town.
Land fish. So, one of the staff knew that he was a penniless skid and thought it was like something was up. So she called the cops, who picked Bychkov up for the robbery. And when they started questioning him, he apparently threw in some juicy deets about the murders just for flavor. I don't know. So that led the cops to his house, where they found his diary, and the cover read,
The bloody hunt of a predator born in the year of the dragon.
He was born in 1988.
it didn't even say my diary. It said the bloody hunt of a predator.
That's sweet.
Born in the year of the dragon.
Well, it's nice that he knows Chinese culture to know that he was born in the year of the dragon. So he's a culture.
Yeah, he saw it on a placemat.
That's what I'm saying. I'm checking my Chinese, takeout menu right now, and I mean, everybody who's
Is
born
88
in the
year of
year
the dragon?
of the dragon is really not happy with this motherfucker
that
right here.
reminds me.
He was born in the year of the dragon. Acadia,
Well,
you were
there you
born in 1928, correct? You're also the year of the dragon.
Yeah, that is correct. So, a little aside, somebody on Twitter reach out to us at StrangefulPod and ask for a copy of the Sam Elliott Zodiac, which will tell you what Sam Elliott you are based on the year that you were born.
Okay, I'll be
wow.
the first twit. I'll be the first
wow.
twit out there for that.
Everybody always wants to be Roadhouse Sam Elliott, but everyone can't be Roadhouse Sam Elliott. Anyways,
I like Tombstone Sam
I
Elliott.
claim Mask Sam Elliott.
Yeah, I want to be Virgil or Sam Elliott.
Yeah, exactly.
it's already a completed thing, so I guess we'll find out who everybody
Okay.
is.
All right, cool.
So, the diary was the end of things for Rambo. He described the 11 murders as a hunt and said of one,
I struck a victim under the jaw with a knife from the bottom up, cut his heart out, and then cooked it in a saucepan with cabbage.
Cabbage.
He also, cabbage
It's
is,
all
you know,
cabbage.
Cabbage.
It's cabbage and whatever.
But it's St.
corned beef
Patrick's
and
Day all
cabbage,
day.
heart and cabbage, it's all good.
That's what I'm saying. You eat cabbage on St. Patrick's Day, so
Yeah.
Giddy
and
up.
on Cut Your Heart Out Day. He also told the cops that the murder seemed to instill in him some kind of self-confidence, and he stopped being shy. His girlfriend often criticized him for being soft.
so he's trying to pin it all on the girlfriend.
oh no, being soft.
There's
as
always
in-
a woman
Diary-
to blame behind
Be-
all of it.
being
you know?
s-
Yeah, we know the woman at fault here is Arena, who was bashing him in the head with a vodka bottle
there's
every
that,
time he
yeah.
came home.
yeah, that.
So,
Always blame the mom.
Yeah, always.
the diary also said he ate the livers, hearts, and muscles of his victims. But by the time they found the bodies, some in his basement, some at the dump, they were too rotted for anyone to verify this extra little bit of flair. So they couldn't tell that if he had actually eaten them because they were all decomposed. And they also never found 2 of the bodies of the people he said he killed, so he ended up being convicted of the murder of 9 people and the robbery of a hardware store. Because,
That's really what put him away.
you
yeah.
need the tools to do the job.
yeah, he did steal knives, so I guess you're right. He was sentenced on March 22nd, 2013 to life imprisonment. And the poor guy who falsely confessed got his case reviewed after his mom petitioned the Minister of Internal Affairs.
my God.
But I don't know if it worked. But I'm going to guess, hey, they caught the serial killer that obviously killed these people. Might have made them lenient. Then again, he only went to a mental institution and he was disabled, so maybe they kept him. I don't know.
A Russian mental institution.
Which
A
have to be
Russian
really good.
mental
Yes.
institution. It doesn't.
And that-
It can't be good.
No.
Well, it's probably at least as good as what we had in, like, the turn of the 20th century.
Yeah, that's true,
touche.
too. I'm a little depressed. Leeches!
I'm going to put you in a cage.
So the mom called and petitioned for his case to get reviewed. Is that like when your mom will call in for you when you're sick from work?
Yes.
Oh, Mel, she's
Oh,
not going to
man.
make it in today. She is not feeling well. How am I doing, honey? Good. Okay.
Yep. That's fair. But that also ends the story of Alexander Bychkov. Unless he kills a bunch of people in jail or he escapes, or they decide to give him the electric chair and he turns into the shocker.
Shocker!
Shocker!
So, that's it.
Don't
All
kill
right.
me through my outlets.
So how many people did he end up? How many people do we know for sure that he was convicted of 9? But how
He
many
was convicted
do we?
of 9 and he admitted to 11, but they never found the bodies of 2.
But they don't think that there was more than that.
No.
Okay.
No, because it was such a a relatively short period of time. Like the first one was in 2009.
Yeah.
It was only a few years. Yeah.
And then he got caught in 2012. So basically 3 years he was killing one a season. Like,
That was, well, he only
for my
worked. He
fall
only worked
collection.
when it was warm, so he
Oh,
was
that's
killing
true.
a couple
That's true.
during those
oh yeah, you're
seasons.
right.
Not
So-
like Andre Chikatilo, who worked over decades.
He didn't
Yeah.
care what season it was. He didn't.
No,
He didn't care about
Good old
anything. That is
Citizen
true.
X.
dedicated serial killer of children.
Yes.
I was going to say, so his brother, we said in the beginning, his brother got like permanent brain damage from like his mom's beatings and stuff, right?
Well, it started with his mother, but then the people that he owed money to kicked the shit out of him and threw him out of a moving car.
Okay.
Wearing
that kind of
Adidas
finished him off.
jumpsuits,
Oh,
no doubt.
He def had on
Yes.
He def
100%.
was head to toe. It possibly had a Kangol hat. We don't know that.
Velour jumpsuits.
But
I mean, the odds are that yes, they were.
yeah, it was definitely velour as well. Now, this is where I'm getting with his brother's name was Sergey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man,
Sergey must be like
listen,
the John of...
Yeah, that's like the
of-
Michael of Russia.
Yeah.
I wonder if he had I wonder if he just started killing people with the name Sergey because it's just like, yo, fuck you, because I can't find any women named Viva Vava, whatever his mom's name is.
Arena?
Irina?
Yeah, whatever her name was. I don't, bitch mama, bitch.
Irina.
Bitch,
Okay,
Bychkov.
Arena.
Bad
Urethra,
mama.
whatever her name is. Man, I just was making those connections because I was like, this man came across a lot of Sergeys in his life, and not all of them made it out on the other side. So,
No, that's true.
yeah, man, slippers and smokes, my babe, slippers and smokes. Okay, 2 rules.
It's not as good as it sounds.
That's what I'm saying. Don't let here instead of say no to drugs, it's say no to slippers and smokes. All right,
Wait
could
till the
save your
next
life.
morning before you go.
Could save your life. Right.
Don't go
Aw.
at night.
I just gave you some life-saving advice, everyone, okay? Say no
Yeah.
to S&S,
Thanks, Mells.
slippers and smokes. Do it in
You're
the...
like,
No,
what
you
if
know
you
what?
just-
Here's a third S. Do
You're
it
not
in
my
the
dad.
sunlight. Oh, if you're going to slipper and smoke, do it in the sunlight. Okay?
Yeah, okay, I can get down with that.
That's a good idea.
There you go.
That's a good takeaway.
There.
See, we're giving back to the community.
That's right.
Yeah, good morals.
It's all
know-
about teaching. It's all about teaching during these difficult times.
That's right. Mells will give
People
you...
are
Trying
looking
times.
for
Listen.
guidance.
3
And
months ago,
Mells has
y'all
it.
should have hollered at me about this bidet. We would have been in a different situation today. Now I'm giving y'all the 3 S's. Better
People
take
would
it.
be going crazy in the toilet paper aisles. They'd
Right.
be,
And
just
I'll
happy
be-
with their bidet.
Y'all be washing your ass and running down the steps real quick and then just going on about your day. Just be watching these motherfuckers ham out on toilet paper while you just be having the last laugh while you ride by.
Yep.
Nobody's running out of Sprite Zero, my man.
Nobody ever runs out of Sprite Zero.
I'm saying.
That's just a fact.
Y'all thought we were going to get through the episode without some butt talk. Y'all was wrong. As long as I'm on the block.
Well, all right. I guess that's it. Follow us at StrangefulPod or at MellsBells84 or at Shooey Time or at Acadia and wherever Ms. Sandwich is lurking.
Yes, whatever.
Yeah.
You'll find her.
You'll
She's
find
always
me.
Shooey
around.
will
I'm
at
around.
some point post
Like 16
something.
fucking Twitter handles. So
Yeah. Call out Shooey
You'll
Time
find
for
me.
never ever actually
I'll
fucking.
eventually post something.
You
It's gonna
did
be
do
gold.
some posting in 2017. I noticed. I think that you went to. Looks like you had some Star Trek stuff going. No, some Star Wars
don't
stuff
dox
going
Yeah, it
on.
would have been
Sorry.
Star
Don't
Wars,
dox
not
him.
Trek.
Leave this
No,
man
I
alone.
I
Thanks,
saw
Mells.
some stuff out there. I saw you're nerdy like us. We know you.
Oh,
You're one
no,
of
I
us.
got all the nerdness down.
You're one of us. Yeah. So. But, I mean, you could pick it up a little bit. I suppose
Yeah,
it's been
yeah.
3 years. So
It's been a
Yeah,
couple
listen,
of years. Yeah, I'll
Shooey.
definitely.
Don't feel bad about it, because let me tell you, when I first rolled up on the Twitter scene, I thought I was like hot stepping shit. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that song,
Oh, I hear you.
Here comes the hot stepper, turn it
turn
up.
it up.
Listen, I was like, here
Come
comes
the lyrical prankster.
turn it up, still love it like that. All right, so I rolled up on Twitter like that, right? And I was like, yo,
Right.
about to bust Twitter up with a real meaningful first tweet. It was a verse from a Goo Goo Dolls song that said,
Which song?
scars are souvenirs that never heal.
Jesus Christ.
God, that's so
It's so deep.
Then I did a follow-up with a Counting Crows, which is we do something like lions and we sacrifice like lambs. And let me tell you something, you couldn't touch me back in 2009.
All right. Well, that was
I've been
a
here
story.
before and I deserve a little more.
All right. Everybody say goodbye now.
Hey, everybody, in all seriousness, stay safe out there, make smart choices.
Yeah.
Social
Take care of
distance yourself with us by listening to all of our episodes and rating and reviewing us, and then passing not by word of mouth but through social media, and tell everybody how hot stepping we are up in here.
That's a good idea. Hadn't really thought of that. Good job.
That's what happens when I leave the camera on for recording.
Alrighty. Well, everyone, have a great week, and I guess we'll see you in approximately 7 days.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.